All right, everybody. Good late afternoon. What is going on? We got some stuff to talk about. Before I get into the main topic of this video, a couple of things. First of all, I was not able to make it up to Seattle for the parade. Was not able to be there, unfortunately. I did make an effort, did try to, but just wasn't able to quite put it together. And ultimately, it was one of those things where I was worried I would get up there, and because I couldn't get there early enough, I wouldn't even be able to see anything. That seemed like a realistic possibility. So I watched it at home, which was great. I did notice, by the way, and I think most other people have seen this as well, but Leonard Williams did indicate that he was going to be back for 2026. So doesn't look like he's going to retire. And that was the big one, right? That was the one that would have been the biggest loss if he had decided to retire. So that's good, but I couldn't make it up there. All right, moving on. All right, guys, hold up because my friends at Sleeper are introducing some new features, and I want to tell you guys about them before we go any further. Sleeper is launching Team Picks, a new prediction market product. So now, on top of all the over-unders you can pick over on their Sleeper app, you can now pick on games. For instance, if you take a look to my left on the screen right now, you can see you can make a pick on the Super Bowl. They also have some bonuses available on over-unders for players. So there's now way more stuff you can get up to over on Sleeper. Get on over there before the Super Bowl, and don't forget to use the promo code SBN for a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. And don't forget to utilize the free $20 entry that you get just for making an account. So the Super Bowl is almost here. Make sure you get on Sleeper and have some fun with sports. All right, so this is a topic I've seen brought up a lot with Seahawks fans. People were talking about it in my post-game stream on Sunday night, and I've seen people in comment sections talking about this, and I totally get why. It is an interesting thing to think about. People are wondering who the Seahawks are going to play in their first game, the Week 1 game, in the 2026 season opener, because, of course, as we are going to be defending champions next season, we are going to probably, although this year not definitely, open the season on Thursday Night Football. It's going to be a home game, so Lumen Field, and the league is going to want it to be a good, compelling game. So basically, we need to narrow this down and figure out who the opponent should be and who the best opponents would be and who maybe isn't a candidate. So basically, who should it be? All right, so I got the list of opponents for the Seattle Seahawks in 2026 up on screen here. Now, let's eliminate a couple of teams. All right, so right off the bat, some people are going to say we should play the Eagles. Some people are going to say we should play the Broncos because those are two teams that have high expectations and should be good in 2026. But we play those teams on the road in 2026. So those teams are out. We cannot play the Eagles or the Broncos. I know some people would say we should play the Raiders because of Clint Kubiak. And look, I understand the storyline there. It is an interesting storyline, but we play the Raiders on the road. So we cannot play the Raiders week 1 either unless we play on the road, which has happened before. The Ravens played week 1 in 2013 on the road after winning the Super Bowl the previous year, but that was because of a scheduling conflict. That was not because of their choice. They didn't want to do it. They had to do it. So I don't think that applies here. So we can only pick from the home opponents. I don't think we're going to choose to open the season on the road, especially with us having a pretty famous and well-known home field advantage. It's the kind of stadium, it's the kind of home field advantage that you really want your team to have when they're defending a Super Bowl title in week 1. That's not something I want to give up. I want that first game at home for sure. So with that in mind, there are two teams that a lot of people are going to say we should play one of those teams, and they are, of course, the Rams and the 49ers. Can't happen. And, well, okay, I don't think it can happen. And the reason why I say that is because it is currently widely believed the Rams and 49ers are going to play each other in week 1 in Melbourne, Australia. So if they're playing each other, they can't play the Seahawks. In fact, some people think the Rams and 49ers might open the season with that Melbourne game and actually play each other before the Seahawks and Team X does, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't love that. But bottom line is, if they do play each other week one, which is currently what all the stories indicate, that means they're off the table. So we have 7 teams to pick from. So let's go through them, kind of ranking them from worst to best. And when we're talking about worst and best, we're talking about all the different elements. Not just how good is the team going to be, but how compelling of a matchup is it? Is it something that is going to draw a lot of attention to the game? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not enough to just say, well, the team is going to be good, so it'll be a good game. It's never that simple. Okay, so I think the worst 2026 opponent for week one at home would be the Giants. I don't think they're going to be good in 2026. I know that John Harbaugh is there and has given that team some hope now. And I do think he'll eventually get that team to a pretty good level. And they do have talent. They do have some good players. They do have some legitimate blue chippers or close to blue chippers on that roster. But I don't think it's going to be enough, especially not by week one. If the Giants are going to be good or decent next year, they're probably going to take most of the season to get there. Week one, I don't think they're going to be radically better than they were during the 2025 season. So there's no real rivalry there. The Giants are a historic franchise, but I think their fan base is pretty jaded right now. I know that Harbaugh brought some hope in, but overall, I think that fan base is like, you got to prove it to me before I'm really going to start believing again. So to me, that's last place. That's 7th. 6th place is the Arizona Cardinals. Technically, it's a rivalry, but there's no sauce to this rivalry whatsoever. Cardinals, one of the worst teams in the league last year. They've lost to the Seahawks 9 straight games. They did make a pretty good head coach hire, in my opinion. I like LaFleur, but they also don't really have the ability to get a franchise quarterback this offseason. And they may be stuck with Kyler Murray, even though they're clearly done with him, which in my book would kind of entail a throwaway season. And to me, if it's Arizona, you're basically just saying we're going to give the Seahawks a free week one win, and we're not going to worry too much about the game being good. So that's 6th place for me. It is a rivalry, but right now, Arizona needs to do something to earn rivalry status back. Okay, 5th place would be the Kansas City Chiefs. And normally the Chiefs would be at the top, but Patrick Mahomes is not going to be ready for week one. And if he somehow, by some miracle, is, he's not going to be ready to play good. We've seen this before. Quarterbacks tear their ACL, tear their Achilles. Maybe they come back quicker than you think, but even if they do, they're not good for like another year almost. They need a lot of time to get back to what they were. So if we get the Chiefs in week one, they're probably not going to have Mahomes. If they do have Mahomes, it's not going to be a good version of him. And that Chiefs team, they're not good enough to be a top team without Mahomes doing Mahomes stuff. So without him or with him at a lower version of himself, it's just not a good matchup. I do think the Chiefs are going to get a veteran quarterback to kind of hold the fort together until Mahomes comes back. Like maybe Derek Carr will come out of retirement. Maybe they pick up Geno Smith from the Raiders. They're going to do something like that. But I don't think what they do is going to be enough to make that a worthwhile matchup. Without Mahomes, the Chiefs just kind of feel like a team that shows up to get beat week one, and that's all there is to it. So I don't think that's going to want to be the Thursday night game to open the season, potentially. Number 4, I have the Chargers. They're going to be pretty good next year, although losing Jesse Minter hurts. I think that losing Jesse Minter is kind of a big deal, but the offensive line should be better. 3rd year of Jim Harbaugh. I think that defense will still be good. Of course, Justin Herbert with plenty to prove. And the fact, if you get the Chargers week one, you're going to get them in a relatively healthy state, you would figure, which should make them somewhat of an imposing team. But even though there's an old AFC West rivalry here, there's just not a lot of, I don't know, I don't think that's getting enough eyeballs on the season opening game against the defending champions, the Chargers. Not a team with a very big or very rabid fan base, not a legacy team, not a team with historic NFL success. If anything, at this point, the Chargers are kind of known for being one of the sadder franchises in the league. So I just don't think there's a lot of sauce there. So that's fourth place for me. Not bad, but you can do better. Third place, I'm going to go Patriots. I know why some people would like this one. I know why a lot of people are going to reflexively think this is the matchup. But for my money, while there is a little bit of a Seahawks-Patriots rivalry, I don't think it's enough of a rivalry to justify basically back-to-back matchups, because we played them in the last game of the season this year. If we play them in the first game of the season the next year, to me, you're kind of pushing a rivalry that at this point in time is not all that interesting, right? Like the Mike McDonald Seahawks have played the Mike Vrabel Patriots once, and the game was not that great, and it was also kind of a blowout. I don't think New England's going to be that good in 2026 either because of their harder schedule. I think that's a very flawed team, especially at positions like receiver, and they've got to figure out that offensive line a little bit better. So I do think that they're going to fall off pretty hard. I get that it's a Super Bowl rematch, and it could be a primetime game. I don't really want to do it week one. There's just not enough there for me. It's better than average just because it's a rematch of the Super Bowl, but at the same time, something about that just kind of bores me a little bit because, again, the game, look, I love the game because we won the Super Bowl in it, but to the average fan, that game was not great, right? I think we can all admit that. Patriots are a legendary franchise. They do have a big fan base. I will admit those things, but I don't know. Something about it just strikes me as lazy. Second place, I actually have the Dallas Cowboys, and you're going to have to hear me out here. I know that one's a little bit weird. Cowboys have missed the playoffs 2 years in a row, but they are by far the biggest franchise in the sport. They are probably still the biggest franchise in all of American sports. That alone is going to be very compelling for the NFL to arrange. Cowboys going to Seattle week 1, playing the defending champs. Remember, the Cowboys played the defending champs week 1 last year, and they also did it off the top of my head 10 years ago when the Giants won their 4th Super Bowl. The Cowboys played the Giants in the season opener of 2012. So that is a team they like to put in the spotlight for obvious reasons. And it would not shock me if they do it again. Now, will the Cowboys be good in 2026? I don't think so. But what I will say, that offense is going to be one of the best in the league if they keep George Pickens. They're going to beat a couple of teams that they otherwise should not beat just on the back of their great offense. So it could be a good game. I would expect to win because I think that defense will be really bad again. But don't sleep on the Cowboys being competitive with some good teams next year. And that leaves first place to me, which is the Bears. I think they're a clear number one here. They are clearly the young, up-and-coming team in the NFC that is poised to really get a foothold as a contender for years to come. They've got the young quarterback. They've got the young stud coach. And they have the resources this offseason to fix their bad defense. So there's a lot to like here. They got a great offensive line. They got great receivers. It's a great offense. They came within like a play from derailing the Rams Seahawks NFC Championship game that seemed preordained before the throughout most of the season. So to me, yeah, there's not much of a rivalry there, but the Bears fan base is very big. It's a legacy franchise, and the storyline writes itself. Defending champions versus the young, hot up and comers. All right. So that's my ranking. Bears are number one. Let me know what you guys think. Go Hawks. See you guys soon.